$47. That is what a single bag of premium lawn fertilizer cost you this spring, and your grass still looks like a tired doormat. You walk out on a Saturday morning with your coffee, the sun is hitting the yard sideways, the neighbor's dog is barking 3 houses down, and then your eye catches it again, that patchy, pale, uneven stretch of lawn that has been mocking you since April. You bought the bag, you spread it, you watered it, and here we are. Here is the truth. Nobody at the big box garden counter is going to tell you, because the entire lawn care industry is built on selling you the same 4-step program every single year, whether your soil needs it or not. The floor associate in the orange or blue apron is reading a planogram, not your dirt. And the frustrating part, the part that actually stings, is that you have done this dance for 5, 10, maybe 20 springs in a row, and the lawn still thins out by July, still browns out by August, still embarrasses you when the in-laws pull into the driveway. Most homeowners are doing this exact wrong sequence. They dump synthetic nitrogen on dry soil, they cut the grass too short because it feels productive, and they water for 10 minutes every evening like they are sprinkling a houseplant, and nothing changes. The lawn keeps failing on the same schedule year after year, and the bag keeps costing more. So in the next few minutes, I am going to show you 2 completely different things. First, the exact reason your fertilizer is being wasted before the grass even touches it, and how to fix that for almost nothing. Second, the cutting and watering mistake that is quietly killing your root system 3 inches under your shoes. And then, the entire reason this video exists, the method the Amish have used on their pastures and yards for over 100 years to grow grass so thick and so green, it looks rolled out from a sod farm. And I am not going to name it yet, because once you hear it, you will stop buying half the products in your garage. Quick question before we go further. When was the last time you actually looked at what is underneath your grass? Not the blades, but the soil itself. Hold that thought, because it is about to matter. Part 1 of this puzzle is the fertilizer problem. And it matters first because it is where you are bleeding the most money for the smallest return. Here is what you instinctively do. You see the lawn looking weak, you drive to the store, you grab the bag with the biggest number on the front, usually a 2904 or a 32010, and you load up the spreader and walk it out in neat stripes. It feels productive, it looks professional, you can smell the granules, but here is what is actually happening beneath your feet. Synthetic nitrogen, the kind in those bags, releases fast. Sometimes 70% of it dissolves within the first 14 days. If your soil pH is off, and for roughly 60% of American and British lawns, it sits below 6 when grass wants 6.5 to 7, that nitrogen does not get absorbed by the root. It either leaches straight down past the root zone with the next rain, or it volatilizes into the air as ammonia gas within 48 hours of application. You are literally watering $47 into the storm drain. The mechanical consequence is that your grass gets a quick green flush for about 10 days. You feel like a hero, and then it crashes harder than before because you have stimulated top growth without feeding the root. So here is the reframe. You do not have a fertilizer problem, you have a soil problem, and no bag on that shelf will fix soil. The correct method, from simplest to most advanced, goes like this. Start by spending $14 on a soil pH test kit, the little glass vial kind, and test 3 different spots in your yard. If your pH is below 6.2, you apply pelletized dolomitic lime at a rate of 40 pounds per 1,000 square feet, which runs you about $9 a bag and lasts 2 full seasons. That single step alone can increase nutrient uptake in your existing soil by up to 40%, meaning the fertilizer you already own suddenly starts working twice as hard. Next, switch from a fast-release synthetic to a slow-release organic, something like a 620 feather meal or a screened composted poultry blend at around $22 a bag. The mechanism is simple. Organic nitrogen has to be broken down by soil microbes before the grass can use it, which means it releases over 8 to 10 weeks instead of 2, and it feeds the microbes instead of starving them. And here is what you stand to lose if you keep getting this wrong. Every spring, you will spend another $50 on a bag, watch it work for 2 weeks, watch the lawn collapse by mid-July, blame the weather, and do it all again next April. One quiet prevention tip before we move on: never, and I mean never, apply granular fertilizer to dry soil. Water the lawn lightly the day before, apply in the cool of the morning, and water again within 4 hours. That single timing trick can double the absorption rate of whatever you put down. If this is the kind of detail nobody bothered to tell you in the garden aisle, do me one small favor and tap the subscribe button right now, because everything on this channel is built exactly like this. The mechanism, the numbers, the truth. One tap, and we keep going. And if the depth of what we just covered, the pH numbers, the organic nitrogen timing, the exact lime rates, feels like the kind of detail you wish someone had handed you in a single place, there is something I want to tell you about right now. The author of the method you are watching unfold in this video has put together a complete field guide, actually 3 volumes, the Amish Lawn Guide, the Amish Soil Guide, and a combined edition called the Complete Amish Yard Field Edition that lays out the full Amish Yard calendar, season by season, with every rate, every timing window, and every soil fix written out so you can work through it on a single weekend morning. It is $97, and the link is in the description below this video. If you have been spending that on a single bag of fertilizer every spring and still staring at a tired doormat, the math on that trade speaks for itself. But let us keep moving, because the physical damage you are doing to your lawn every single weekend is just as costly as the fertilizer problem, and this one is entirely in your hands to fix. Part 2 is a completely different problem, and I want to be very clear. This is not a fertilizer issue. This is a physical damage issue you are doing to your lawn with your own 2 hands every weekend. The thesis is blunt. Your mower and your hose are doing more harm than any weed or pest in your yard. The universal mistake most homeowners make is cutting the grass too short and watering too often for too little time, and the catastrophic consequence is a root system that never grows deeper than 1.5 inches, which means the moment July hits 90 degrees, your lawn cooks from below because the roots cannot reach the cooler, moisture soil 8 inches down. That damage takes a full season, sometimes 2, to reverse. So let me give you 3 methods ordered from cheapest to most professional. Method 1, raise your mower deck to 3.5 inches minimum. Most people scalp at 2 inches because it feels like they are getting more value between cuts. But grass blades are solar panels. The taller the blade, the more photosynthesis, the deeper the root, the thicker the canopy. A lawn cut at 3.5 inches develops roots up to 6 inches deep, while a lawn cut at 2 inches rarely exceeds 2 inches of root depth. That is a 300% difference in drought tolerance for the cost of turning one knob on your mower. And follow the 1/3 rule, never remove more than 1/3 of the blade in a single cut. If your grass is 6 inches tall, you cut to 4, not to 2. Method 2, change how you water. Stop the daily 10-minute sprinkle. Instead, water deeply and infrequently 1 full inch of water once a week, delivered in a single long session of about 90 minutes depending on your sprinkler output. To measure it, set an empty tuna can on the lawn while the sprinkler runs and stop when the can has 1 inch of water in it. The mechanism is straightforward. Shallow watering trains roots to stay near the surface where the moisture is. Deep watering forces roots to chase the water down, building a root system that can survive 2 weeks of drought without flinching. This single change saves the average homeowner about $30 a month on the water bill in summer. Method 3, and this is the one a professional groundskeeper would reach for, is mechanical core aeration combined with overseeding. Rent a core aerator for around $70 for 4 hours, run it over the lawn in 2 passes at right angles, and you will pull thousands of small plugs of soil out of the ground. Those holes do 3 things at once. They relieve compaction from years of foot traffic and mowing, they let oxygen reach the root zone, and they create perfect little seed pockets. Immediately after aerating, spread fresh seed at the rate listed on the bag, usually 4 to 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet for cool season grasses like fescue or rye, and top dress with 1/4 inch of screened compost. Within 3 weeks, you will have new grass coming up inside every aeration hole, thickening the lawn from the inside out. Do this once every autumn and you will never see bare patches again. Part 3, prevention. And this is the part the whole video was built around, the Amish method I promised you in the opening, the one approach that quietly does the work of fertilizer, soil conditioner, and weed barrier all at once. It is top dressing with screened compost. That is it. That is the secret the catalogs do not want you to know, because you cannot patent dirt. The Amish have been managing pastures and yards this way for over a century. long before synthetic fertilizers existed, and their fields are famously some of the most productive per acre in North America. Here is the mechanism in one sentence. A 1/4-inch layer of finished compost spread across your lawn once a year feeds the soil microbiome, which in turn feeds the grass roots continuously for the entire growing season, while simultaneously improving water retention by up to 30% and smothering shallow weed seeds before they germinate. The exact material is screened compost, ideally aged for at least 12 months, either bagged from a local supplier for around $6 a cubic foot or delivered in bulk by the cubic yard for about $45, which covers roughly 1,000 square feet at the correct depth. Application is simple. Shovel small piles across the lawn, then drag the back of a leaf rake or better a flat metal landscape rake across the surface to spread it into a thin, even layer, working it down between the grass blades until the green is showing through again. Do this once in early autumn, water it in, and walk away. The time and money it saves you every year is real and specific. You eliminate at least one of your 2 annual fertilizer applications, which is roughly $47 saved. You cut your summer watering by about 20% because of improved soil moisture retention, which is another $60 across the season. And you reduce weed pressure enough that 1 fewer bag of pre-emergent ends up in the spreader, another $30. Call it $130 a year, every year, for doing 1 Saturday of work in September. Now, which method is for you? If you have a small suburban lot under 5,000 square feet and you want one decision that fixes everything, do the compost top dressing in autumn and raise your mower deck tomorrow. That combination alone will transform the lawn by next June. If you have a larger property, half an acre or more, and the grass has been suffering for years, start with the soil pH test and the lime application this month, then do the core aeration and overseed in early autumn, and layer the compost on top of the aeration holes for a triple effect. And if you are dealing with hard clay soil, the kind that turns to concrete in July and into soup in November, you need all 3: lime, aeration, and compost running on a 2-year rebuild cycle before you will see the lawn truly bounce back. Now, once you start top dressing with compost and your soil actually wakes up, you are going to run straight into the next problem. Nobody warned you about a sudden explosion of earthworm castings across the surface of your lawn, little muddy mounds that show up overnight and can make the surface bumpy underfoot. It is a sign your soil is healthy, but it looks ugly and it can dull a mower blade fast if you do not handle it right. If you are already seeing those castings, or if you start seeing them after you apply the compost this autumn, drop the word castings in the comments below and tell me roughly how big your lawn is, because the next video on this channel is going to walk you through exactly how to manage them without killing the worms that are now doing free work for you 24 hours a day. Tap subscribe before you close this, because that video drops soon and you do not want to apply everything I just told you and then get blindsided by the one side effect of doing it right. One tap, one comment with the word castings, and I will see you in the next one. Before you click away though, there is more to the story than just lime, aeration, and compost, because the Amish approach to a flawless lawn is built on a whole calendar of small, deliberate actions that most homeowners never even consider. And if you only take the 3 big pillars and ignore the rhythm around them, you will still get a good lawn, but you will not get that deep, even carpet-like green that makes people slow their cars down when they drive past an Amish farmstead in Lancaster County or Holmes County or LaGrange County. So let me walk you through the rest of the calendar, because this is where the real magic hides. Start with mowing height, because this is the single most overlooked variable in American lawn care. The average suburban homeowner mows at 2 inches, sometimes lower in the heat of July, because they want to stretch the time between cuts. The Amish, by contrast, keep their cool season grass between 3.5 and 4 inches almost year-round, dropping only slightly in late autumn before dormancy. Why does that matter? Because every additional ½ inch of leaf blade roughly doubles the root depth underneath. A 4-inch blade of fescue or Kentucky bluegrass can push roots down 6, 8, even 10 inches into the soil, which means during a 2-week July drought, that grass is pulling moisture from a reservoir your neighbor's 2-inch lawn cannot even reach. Taller grass also shades the soil surface, which drops the soil temperature by as much as 15 degrees Fahrenheit on a hot afternoon and prevents crabgrass seed from germinating in the first place. There is a reason the Amish almost never spray pre-emergent herbicide. They do not have to because their mowing height is doing the work chemically for them. Next, the question of clippings. In 1991, the state of Pennsylvania actually banned grass clippings from municipal landfills, and that single policy change forced thousands of homeowners to start mulch mowing for the first time. The Amish had been doing it for 2 centuries already. Every clipping returned to the lawn is roughly 4% nitrogen by dry weight, plus potassium, plus trace minerals, and over the course of a single growing season, a properly mulch-mowed lawn returns the equivalent of 1 full fertilizer application back into the soil for free. Bagging your clippings and hauling them to the curb is, in real economic terms, throwing about $40 to $60 of fertilizer into a plastic bag every year and paying someone to take it away from you. Stop doing it. Sharpen your mower blade twice a season, once in April, once in July, and let the clippings fall. Then there is the matter of water. And here the Amish wisdom runs directly against everything the irrigation industry has spent the last 40 years telling you. The standard sprinkler system recommendation is short, frequent watering, 15 minutes every other morning, something like that. The Amish water deeply and rarely, or more often, they do not water at all and let the deep root system they built through tall mowing do the work. When they do water during a genuine drought, they put down a full inch in a single session, which soaks 6 inches deep, and then they do not water again for 7 to 10 days. Short, frequent watering trains roots to stay shallow, right at the surface, where the first hot, dry week will fry them. Deep, infrequent watering trains roots to chase moisture downward, which is exactly what you want. Now let us talk about overseeding rates, because this is where I see people waste enormous amounts of money. The bag at the big box store will tell you to put down 6 to 8 pounds of seed per 1,000 square feet for overseeding. For a true Amish-style renovation over aerated soil with compost on top, you want closer to 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet of a high-quality turf-type tall fescue blend, or 3 pounds of Kentucky bluegrass if you are in the northern tier. More seed than that, and the seedlings compete with each other, choke each other out, and you end up with a thin stand anyway. The trick is not volume, it is seed-to-soil contact, which is exactly what core aeration and compost top dressing give you for free. One more thing before I let you go to that next video on castings, watch your soil temperature, not the calendar. The single biggest mistake homeowners make with autumn overseeding is going by the date on the wall instead of a $5 soil thermometer pushed 2 inches into the ground. Cool season grass seed germinates best when soil temperatures are between 55 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit and falling. In most of the northern United States, that window opens around the 3rd week of August and closes around the 1st week of October. But in a warm autumn, it can stretch to mid-October, and in a cold one, it can slam shut by September 20th. Buy the thermometer. Check it every 3 days starting August 15th. When you hit 68 degrees and dropping, that is your signal to aerate, seed, and top dress all in the same weekend. Do it then, and the seed will be up in 7 to 10 days, established in 3 weeks, and locked in before the first hard frost arrives.